Dominic, taking a look at your swing in a little more detail here. I like a lot of things about it, and certain issues that we could still keep working on to be the best you can. One of the things that you notice, and again, in my temporary setup for the summer, I don't have my building to go in and review these things, and I don't have my stationary held camera, which I'm going to try to bring out tomorrow. So the camera is moving just a little, but it'll still give us a good general idea. And we see we're looking for, where we can get that extra 5 miles an hour mostly, and we definitely arrived on the fact that we're going to try a new shaft or a different driver. I've been playing around with a lot of distance things in my own game right now too, because of my age and my condition, and I've been experimenting with lengths and lofts and flexes, and most of all weight. Weight is the big thing. So I'm thinking we want to go a little softer in your tip, a little lighter overall, and see, because when you watch this come down, there's no load on that shaft at all. I mean, the real power brokers, those guys that kind of lift weights for a living, their shaft looks like this at that point. So unless you're bowing the shaft a lot like that, there's no reason to have a heavy shaft or a tip stiff shaft, regardless of your speed. And anyway, speed-wise, depending upon which driver we were using today, you're averaging 110, and that wouldn't qualify for X by anybody's standards. That would be, for me, that would be an S shaft with a soft tip and a light weight. But one of the issues is still this one. We don't want that upper body to run ahead and then stop and then kind of back up. And the right heel comes up fairly early, and the body goes that way. And there's a long release of the club. One of the things I want to try to get you out of eventually is this habit of extending your right arm far too soon. That right arm should never extend until well past impact, and yours gets extended far too soon. If you see this picture here, bring it up on a model. This isn't necessarily mechanics. I think mechanically, it's not. There's still some things we could do, but mostly I'm trying to get you some more heat. And one of the ways you'll see a home run hitter look like this too. See, the right arm is pre-impact is still bent, and impact has still got a little cut in the elbow. Yours actually gets pretty well extended. You're actually before impact here, and it's fully extended. Now that starts right here with the body running ahead and the loss of the angle there. So I think what we're going to keep working on is just definitely keeping your body behind the ball. If I go over here, get a model that I wanted to see here. Okay, so good wind up. I think the wind up is fine. I really do. I think the weight is good. I think he's, got a little more torque there, but this is Rory. But if I get a lineup, or let's use that white post there. You see that white post is kind of coming right out of his hip. And he's got this little if this is 90, he's got that little 10-degree tilt like this. Okay, so if you go straight up there, what you don't want to lose is that tilt. You see how you leaned in right there? This is what we were fighting last time, and it's gotten better, but we're still fighting some of it. And as you're doing that, the swing gets pretty wide, gets pretty out there, and he's really pulling it in. And now he's going to pull that handle up. So if I go low point for him, I'd say right now, and I haven't done this before, I'm going to check this out. I'd say he's at the lowest point. Here come the hands up. And look how much his hands have raised through the impact. You see that? That's kind of important because this is what we were talking about before. You don't want to drive the hands downward. You want to keep this arm bent and let the body turn it. Now look at the difference here immediately post impact. Okay, see his right arm? That's the way you'd see a home run hitter in baseball. You look at anybody who hits the ball 400 feet over the fence. They step in, the lead arm is extended, and the right arm is slightly bent as part, it's elbows growing right out, and he just fires it through. So there's where they get their extension, but not until then. So if you start back here and you keep your tilt behind it, I really want to keep your tilt behind this ball. Oh man, I had that kid's name I was thinking about too. I remember on the tee today I was trying to recall that kid's name. It's Jordan Spieth, the real hot item, Jordan Spieth. He leans into the ball like this, and so did Curtis Strange years ago, and they were both extremely accurate, but they're short. Because that's going to be hard now for you to wait for your arms to pass by. Whereas if you can keep, I love the way he keeps this tilt. Look at the lower body drive. So I see this real good angle right up there. That's where now the arms are going to go flying by him. And you won't have to stand up and come out of this either, because you're actually running forward a little bit and then backing up a little bit and then coming up a little bit. So it's one of the things that happens in your golf swing. I keep getting up with the wrong video here. Sorry. There it is. Really got no challenge with this at all. I mean, I really think look how square that face is. It's perfectly on plane with your left arm. And probably if we went down to that original shaft, it's right on this plane. See how the face of the club is laying right on your shaft? That's perfect position for it. Okay, so I don't have any problem there. Your hands get deep. They get a little bit behind you, but that's okay. But now here comes the run on and the dissipation of the angle. So what I'd like to do is have you really excessively tomorrow stay behind the ball. Not even worry about the turn through, because this foot is coming up so early now that you're really from having turned through, that foot is coming. That's the way Tigers like used to work. Your knee's working out, so you're humping out at the ball there a little bit instead of kicking it into this knee like he's doing. Let's get a good driver down the line. Kicks the knee in toward that tee, in toward the target, in toward the ball. Your knee kicks out. So we got to get it kicking in. It's got to stay a little bit lower. It's got to roll so it can kick in a little bit, right? And that would keep your upper body behind it, and you wouldn't feel the need to extend this arm. I really feel that the arm is extending early because the upper body runs ahead. So when we were doing our low to high today, if you watch Adam, he's not quite as much into that, but Rory really is. And I watched today Rory McIlroy at Firestone. hit every drive that they measured for the whole round over 300 yards. Every time he took his driver out of the bag, it was over 300 yards. I think he averaged 327 or something like that for the day. But there's a lot of sit down and jump up for the power. Look at his belt here, and look at his belt at impact. But yet his head stayed the same. That's a squat. It's like a high jumper. Run up and jump. If you were going to do a vertical leap, the first thing you'd do is squat. You'd go down and then leap. When I used to play ball, that's the way you would, first when you were a kid in high school trying to touch the rim, and then later when you're trying to dunk the ball, you had to go down to go up. So that belt goes way down. The hands, now watch the hand line. It starts to pull up, and he drives through the golf ball. But he always does it with that axis tilt behind the ball. As long as we lose the axis tilt with this kicking out like this instead of kicking in toward that and keeping you behind, you're going to feel a need to extend that right arm. And that's where you're going to pick up that extra 4 or 5 miles an hour. I mean, think about it, if you get the right shaft and you could pick up 5, you'd be well over 300 all the time, because you'd be in the 116 area. 116, which I think, we could make a goal. I think that would be a goal, 116 in play. We're going to play around with the club here and get you to the Cobra, or the, what's it called? TaylorMade van there that I told you about. There's a tour van there in Fort Myers. You can go out to Carlsbad, California. If you want to go on a vacation someday with your wife and you go to California, all the companies do the fitting there, but you're definitely not in the right driver right now. So, okay. All right, that's just some observations from today. I'm going to text you now so you look at this before we meet tomorrow, and I'll see you in the morning.